Okay, so one day my school and I were going on a trip to 𝚤𝚘𝚘𝚎 and I could not wait for it. On the night before the trip, I asked my 𝚤𝚘𝚘𝚎 to tuck me into my bed. 𝚤𝚘𝚘𝚎 said yes and I ran upstairs believing I was the next Olympian because 𝚤𝚘𝚘𝚎 was running through my veins. However, as I was running up the stairs I suddenly felt the urge to vomit. 𝚤𝚘𝚘𝚎's casserole turned out to have my dog's juicy slimy sloppy moppy hot shit in it instead of the gravy, so anyway, as I'm now clenching my tum-tum in slow motion, my dog, the one who shot in my 𝚤𝚘𝚘𝚎's casserole, decided to run in front of me right when the shitterole decided to fly. My dog was covered in the most gloopy, slimy, spoopy, moist, smelly, like my mummy's belly, wobbly, globbly, shutty juice to the point where he looked like he was coated in 𝚤𝚘𝚘𝚎 sewage. I started falling down the stairs in slow motion as my 𝚤𝚘𝚘𝚎 caught me in slow motion. I now have a Nobel Prize for inventing a new type of chemical in my shutty nasty fishy gloopy vomit. Oh, and also my dog turned out to have a super rare, advanced form of bowel cancer.
One day, I was at McDonald's. I decided to order a chocolate milkshake. Bad idea, by the way. I was drinking my milkshake when all of a sudden, I needed to fart. But it was more than a fart. I shat all over the seat and my family. Everyone started staring and laughing at me because I let out the most sloppy, ploppy, goggy, foggy, smelly, pig's belly, slimy jelly shit ever. I could have been mistaken for a rocket, because my shit was making me fly up in the air. I saw someone recording me and I was like, oh hell no, you stinky rat, very fat, fishy fanny. I grabbed their Dora flip phone out of their hand and said, never do that to me again, you stupid bitch. I didn't even care that she was 5 years old. Fuck her. Anyways, I ran home and shit was flying all over the town. I started crying and when I went to school the next day, everyone called me Sandra Slimmer shit. Anyways, turns out I have bowel cancer. One day, I went to a fair with my grandpa. He always wanted to try the chili sauce that they had there, but my granny told me never to let him try it. Because I was a goody two-shoes, I promised myself never to let him have it. I knew my ass would get hooked if he tried it. Anyway, we arrived at the fair, and I decided to let him get a big bowl of chili sauce because he wouldn't stop asking. I thought I was such a baddie. After 5 minutes, I saw why he wasn't allowed it. My grandpa said he needed to go to the toilet and he shoved all the little kids out the way. He almost made it to the toilet but he slipped on a banana peel. Shit flew out of his ass with the force of a volcano. It was green and slimy. It stunk like a homeless cat. Moldy rat, shook the fat, lazy bat, the shit got all over the people walking past. I thought to myself, oh fuck. Loads of seagulls came past and started eating out my grandpa's ass. I ran home to my grandma and we called the ambulance. My grandpa had bowel cancer.
One day, I was in bed. I was about to go to sleep because it was 11 p.m. I have trouble sleeping, so I put an amethyst under my pillow. Apparently it helps sleeping. I was literally about to fall asleep when, all of a sudden, I heard an ungodly noise. It was coming from under my bed. I started freaking out. It sounded like an animal moving. I called my mum in to look for the animal but we couldn't find anything. So I went to sleep. At 2 a.m. I was awoken. I felt something on my face. That's when I realized it was an animal crawling on me. I threw it off me and turned on the light. It was a fucking skunk. I said, get out of here, you smelly animal. Anyways, I put the skunk in my brother's room, and I went back to sleep. I was then awakened at 5 a.m. The skunk was on my face again, but this time, it was taking a shit in my mouth. The shit was oozing and dribbling. It smelled so bad. It was gooey, Louie, very pooey. I picked up the disgusting animal and threw it out of a 5-story house. It died. Turns out it had bowel cancer. Peace out, motherfuckers.
One day, I was at school. We were in science class and we were making explosions and shit. I was a bit of a rebel in school, so I decided to mix every ingredient I could find into one bowl. I then proceeded to heat it over a Bunsen burner. I now realize that was a bad mistake. It exploded all over the students. It made the school shake, caused an earthquake. Even my teacher, Mr. 𝚤𝚘𝚘𝚎 was covered head to toe in this creamy mess I had created. My head teacher, Mrs. 𝚤𝚘𝚘𝚎, expelled me from school for 1 week. But I said, no fuck you bitch, and I walked like a badass out of my school, with a baddie playlist on. I came back to school the next day and everyone was so impressed by me. Every time I have science I am not allowed to participate. The explosion I made that day was as loud as a hippo giving birth. I am now the most popular person in the school and everyone wants to be my friend. Mr. 𝚤𝚘𝚘𝚎 wants to be my boyfriend, and Mrs. 𝚤𝚘𝚘𝚎 said she would be lesbian for me. So suck on that, bitches.
One time, I was at school. I was walking through the hallway when all of a sudden I heard a AEEMOWWEMOEWWEHHWEAEOWWW. I went to investigate what it was. I saw a pussy. It was shaved. You dirty fuckers, I'm talking about a pet cat. I picked it up and it hissed. I said, listen here, you little shit. I am saving your life, you ugly rat. The pussy meow meow jumped 10 feet in the air and landed on its back. I said, you dumb idiot. I thought cats were meant to land on their feet. So I picked up the ugly rat, very fat, stinky cat, infected bat, flea-covered fat cat. I took it back to my house. After a week of having it in my room started to smell like my dad just took a shit in there. So I threw the cat out of the window. It flew like Spider-Man. Unfortunately it got hit by a van. Sorry not sorry bitch. Anyways, I took it to the vets. The ugly chick was gonna die anyway because it had the one and only bowel cancer.
Time